I just want to invest in people that really want to be the best that they can be.
Hello, past clients and friends of Summit Funding. It's Todd Scrima and Jim Reed and Robyn LaVassaur, and we do a podcast once a month for our clients. And this one is about return on investments for home improvements. So to frame this, I actually hate this podcast, just so you all know. I already hate it because I'm talking people into not selling a house. But here's 68% of Americans have a rate on their house of 4% or less, and they don't want to sell it. So you have another baby, your mom gets sick and you take care of your mom. There's all kinds of reasons why you might add an ADU, you might add a bedroom, you want to remodel the kitchen, you need it.
Or you could keep that house as a rental and buy a new one.
Yes, 100%. Jimmy and I are of the philosophy that you never sell a house. Matter of fact, I only sold one. When that's not true. I sold 3 houses my entire life. I wish literally I would have kept all 3. So
if you can cash flow and it's not a cash crunch to have one, and you're going to hold on to it for long term, it's never not going to
keep it. So here's what happens. I'll frame this up, and then Jim and Robyn can help us out. Someone says, "Hey, I want to add an ADU, or I want to expand the square footage of my house, or I want to add a bedroom." Your answer is to what that is worth after you do the improvement is you would look at what other homes in your direct radius, like appraisers typically look in a 10-mile radius, but it depends on your neighborhood, right?
1 mile radius, sir. Keep going.
Okay. And they're looking for, hey, Todd's house is 2-bedroom, 2-bath. What's a 3-2 sell for with similar square footage? And your answer would be to stay within that budget if you don't want to over-improve. And people are like, well, how would I find that out? You could go on Ask Sales on Zillow. You could ask a realtor to send you a list. There's all kinds of resources, public records that you can find that on. Yes?
The very best way, honestly, is if we do a loan for you, call us and we'll get you hooked back up with your realtor. The very best way is, honestly, that's what real estate agents do for a living. They will come out to your house, the one that sold you that house, look at your house. They love real estate. They'll check it out, and they will be able to tell you what do's and don'ts are. We want to give you some guidelines, but the truth is, use your real estate professional. Have them come out. It's what they do for a living. They may ask you if you want to sell it, but you don't. If you don't, just tell them and tell them what you're thinking about doing, and they can give you some really good, honest feedback about your neighborhood compared to what you want to do. The rules of thumb we're going to give you are in general, but it does vary by neighborhood.
Totally agree. So, I've only done a couple remodels in my life, and I'm super cheap. So I think I did a kitchen and bathroom remodel for $30,000, 15 years ago. But I'm very, I don't want to put a bunch of money into a house and then have it not be worth it. That's very top of mind for me. If you give an example like swimming pools, an appraiser might only increase your value 10 or 20 grand, but a pool costs 100 grand. So that's a tough one, right? So there's a lot of pitfall because you may want to sell that house in 2 years and you're only going to get 20 grand for the pool that cost you 100. So that's the kind of stuff we're talking about. So Robyn, what's a tip on this that you would suggest?
Yeah, I think one, establish for yourself why you're doing the improvement to begin with, right? And so I think that's a really big deal. Why are we doing this improvement? Is it for future value? Is it for our own joy, right? We put a pool in our house. I think it's the best investment on the planet. We use it frequently. We've had that sucker open since the end of March, and I live in Oregon, so it's cold. But we use it frequently. It's a great gathering place for us. Now, we didn't anticipate money coming back to us because we put a pool in, and we only put it in our final house, meaning we are planning on staying long-term owner, we want to get a lot of use out of that pool. Different investment, right? I never would have spent the money on a 2-year house or a 5-year house. It's not worth it. It's not there. Might be if you have oodles of money, but if you're really looking for a direct return on investment, that probably isn't it. I think there's that. The one other piece that I would just say to it that people get confused, deferred maintenance or required maintenance is not renovation, right? Those are two different things. Renovation is adding or enhancing your home. maintenance is just keeping it at the level at a minimum of what you bought it so that the natural appreciation will be there, but it's maybe not beyond that. And I think that people struggle with, like, I just put a heating system in. Well, the heating system broke. That's part of what you had to do, right, on the home. Yes, there's value. Air conditioning actually adds a really nice dollar for dollar in most areas enhancement, right? Like that's one behind the scenes that is overall valued at a high thing, at a high rate of return. What I see in general, Todd, is I think kitchen is just in general, it's a focal point for a lot of people and a lot of things. I think your back patio, a covered patio entertainment space in the back has become a really big thing overall. Again, depending on the level of home, right? Our very first home didn't have an outdoor entertaining space. It wasn't a big home, right? Like it was a very small home. We did the basics to it. We did a nice new countertop, but it was Formica, not marble, not granite. And that when we could have done granite, my husband's in construction, it didn't make any sense. We never would have gotten the value back out of granite, right? The Formica looked really nice, looked sharp, looked clean, looked new, great value, right? Like great return. And so I think that you really got to decide, hey, is this ultimately for me? You ever been in a home or seen a home that sits on the market for a little bit and it's so custom? It's so custom woodworking in the walls, And
what?
If much, yeah, you love the bird shape that you created, right, in the living room mural, and it cost a small fortune, and it's but to find a buyer that appreciates that the way you appreciate that, super small pool, right? And so I think you have to think to yourself, hey, who am I doing this for? If you loved the heck out of that bird for 20 years, then you're game on, right? That's a good renovation for you personally, but you're not necessarily going to get the money back out of it. And so I think when you think money, you think about things that add value, that are conveniences and or aesthetically pleasing to other people. Great, outdoor living space, kitchen. What's another? Extra bathroom, Jimmy? That's a huge one, right? Extra bathroom.
That's big. I think one of the things that people underestimate is maintaining your home. So there's rules of thumb, right? You should paint your house exterior every 10 years, whether you think it needs it or not. The reason for paint is not color. The reason for paint is protection. And if you bought a brand new home, they watered down the paint, but you got to paint it within the first couple of years. You just got to trust me on this. Like if you paint your house every 10 years, you'll never have dry rot. You'll never have a problem. You won't have to do major repairs later. That's number one. Number two is every 5 to 7 years, you got to get your roof certified. Someone goes up there, you have a tile roof. It looks like it's going to last forever. It grows little mold, these little green mold things that break off and clog the water up and build a dam, and you have a roof leak. Little things like that. Every 5 to 7 years, you got to have someone go up and service your roof. You got to do the gutters every single year. Like without a doubt, have a professional come out and do your gutters every single year. And you got to have your HVAC serviced every year. It'll be way more efficient. Here's one more. You got to change your stupid air filter in your HVAC every 3 months. Every 3 months.
Yes.
And then your HVAC will last a long time.
And your home inspection gives you a list, right? A follow-up maintenance.
Yeah.
Follow with a great guideline. Save it.
Yeah, the ones I gave you are the big ones. If you just do those, your hot water heater, it's going to break when it's going to break. And if you really want to, you can drain it every 6 months. You hook the garden hose up to the bottom, you turn it on, and you hose off your garage with the hot water until it's empty. It'll get rid of all the sediment at the bottom. It will help a little bit, but those are going to do what they're going to do. I know more than I look, Todd. I know you're shocked. I know a lot about housing.
Come to my
house. Like you see the look on your face. So here's the return on investment. Windows. If you got an old house and you redo the windows, you'll get your money back.
Yep.
Kitchen. If Mama likes the kitchen, she's going to buy the house. If she don't like the kitchen, she ain't going to buy the house. Garage. Papa likes the garage, he's going to buy the house. If he don't like the garage, he's not going to buy the house. Last is bathroom. I'm selling my house right now. I got this realtor who I love. She walked in. I told her how much I love my house. She told me all these things that were wrong with it. I wanted to sock her. I love my house. My boys love my house. We grew up in that house. And she's all, Jim, you have linoleum floor on your bathroom floor. I'm all, oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even see the things that are wrong with my house. So that's why I said at the beginning, and I'll finish with this, have your realtor come. have them look at it. They see different stuff. She's making me take down. I did this custom round rock, river rock fireplace thing. It's so gaudy. I did it 20 years ago. I like it. She's all, we have to take that down.
She doesn't like that?
Hey, so really, we need some guys. But have your realtor come out. They're going to help you. That's what they do for a living. That's all I got.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, I think the big thing that in closing, there is a difference on your stage of life. So, my first house, Jimmy and I were actually college roommates, and I bought this first house, and I never did anything to it because I knew it was the first house, right? I didn't do a single thing. I think I put in new carpets one time, but But
you didn't do that because we flooded it. That's because we broke the toilet and the toilet cracked and it fled all over the house.
This is true. This is true. That did happen. But then, later stage in life, when I built my own house, I wanted things a certain way. I thought I'm going to be there like 30 years. So I still think I'll be there 30 years. I've been there 10. So, it does depend. But I think where people get in trouble, it's like I'm trying to sell my son's Bronco right now. So his first car, and I over improved it. I put a new paint job on it. I put a new stereo in it. I had the air conditioning rebuilt. I got like 25 grand into this Bronco that will sell for 15 grand. And that's just the truth. I over improved an old car. So that's an example of what we're saying not to do.
Yes.
So, sometimes you just, I think it gets emotional. Like, it's like, I got to have that $5,000 Gucci purse. No, okay.
Try 50.
If you really have the money and it's really important, I guess that's okay. But a lot of times make emotional purchases, or in this case, emotional upgrades that not talking about maintenance like Jim was talking about, over improving a house for what the house is. And that's what you got to be careful of.
One of the other big mistakes that you see is, and they're not always bad, but generally garage conversions. I will tell you, homes without a garage in this state, it's such a miss for people. Buy a house that has more space, but not having a garage is a huge downside at the end of the day to your value. And I think that people underestimate that. They live there and, I'm going to convert the garage. There's an extra bedroom. I'll tell you what, you got that many people in there, you need more space, period. And that means a garage, right? That's a big miss that we see all the time. It's a big thing in Oregon. I don't know if it's a big thing.
They don't give, they used to be in California. Yeah, they don't have value. Don't do it. They don't give value on it.
Yeah.
It'd be smarter to put a mother-in-law little casita in the backyard than to have a garage conversion.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's a big selling point right now with the ADUs behind the houses. It's a big thing. So, okay. Well, I hope you guys appreciate it. If you're thinking of improving something, or maybe remember this for a future date, we appreciate all your business. Thank you for allowing us to continue to stay in this business. Coming up on 30 years with Summit, one of the older, more like top 1% oldest mortgage company in America. So that's because of you coming back to us and saying, hey, help me out. Sure. We also offer HELOCs and fixed rate seconds, which are a big deal right now. If you don't want to give up that 3 or 4% loan, that can be a really good way. I know I was looking at some deals the other day, and like the blended rate that people get maybe goes from 3% to 4.5%, but they're able to either consolidate a lot of debt or put an ADU on the property. There's all kinds of reasons why it might make sense to do that. So if call your realtor if you want hey, is this worth it to do? Call us, your lender, if it has to do with buying another home, refinancing your home, getting a second or a HELOC, or buying an investment property, any reason like that, make sure you call us again. We would really, really appreciate the business. Okay. Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Robyn. Have a beautiful month.
Bye.
Hey, guys.